honestly, it was just a passing comment. Oscar's on one as well.
I've really enjoyed watching this lad bowl. Cracking stuff. Well, I think there's going to be quite a few youngsters out there watching Palermo in action and thinking 2 hands is for me.
They'll have to think a long time. It's taken Oscar many, many years to develop this. From a very young age. Obviously the weight of the bowling balls were too heavy, so he used 2 hands. Found it to his liking and stayed with it, and has developed into something absolutely unique, along with the likes of Jason Belmonte. Devastating power they generate onto that bowling ball.
And both these guys here at this tournament, at the moment, both still in. Barnes then also working a strike. Oh, bit of luck.
Yeah, Chris is looking down at his feet as if he was not quite in the right place, but that ball took off early, went high through the head pin, and yet again it was that 4-9 split that we've seen on numerous occasions. He's looking for 10. Just inside his mark, that's why it's gone high. There's the 4-9 split, and he gets the fortunate tap on the 9 pin. A little bit disappointed with that. Out comes his hard spare ball, straight at this 4 pin.
I was just trying to remember, there was one game last year when Chris Barnes had to fight for his life, and he freely admits that he felt he got a bit lucky in the game. But was it against Remy? Did he get a great start against him in the semi, and then he just fell away and hung on to it by the skin of his teeth?
I remember the match against Mike Schmidt, who
it might have been
7
Schmidt
in a row, and unfortunately had a big open frame in frame either 9 or 10, which let Chris in.
Yeah, you're right, Cass, that's the one.
And it was just a 5-pin victory, and it was a big open frame that cost Mike Schmidt there. So when you start stringing strikes together, if you get an open frame, it's so expensive. It's a big difference in the game, turns the whole aspect of the game around.
Certainly does, and Palermo's back in business. 5-2-5 now, could be his aggregate maximum over these 2 games against Barnes's 5-1-5. That's all about striking out from here. Well, it's to be expected when you're up against someone of the calibre of Chris Barnes. You probably feel you've got to bowl a maximum or pretty close to it if you're going to beat him. Nice work.
Nice work indeed. 3 strikes in a row for the man from Finland, the reigning World Cup champion. #1 ranked bowler in Europe just at this particular time.
Here's the turkey for Palermo. It's Barnes now that has to respond.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Oscar may have thought that the lane's changed slightly. The stats tell us he was slightly inside his mark on that shot, but still flashed the pocket, as did Chris there. So he's back on strike, staying in touch.
He's got a lot of fans in this Barnsley crowd, as Chris Barnes made a lot of friends last year when he came to this tournament, and just enjoyed every minute of it.
Absolutely, and also a member of the Team USA Weber Cup team that came here and stole the Weber Cup from Europe by a single point.
Well, he said he used to play in, it was the English Open many, many years ago, and he said he walked back into the hall at Barnsley last year ahead of this World 10-pin Masters. He just couldn't get to the lane for old faces and old friends he hadn't seen for years.
He actually last bowled in about 1998 at Nottingham in the British Open, when his wife Linda won the ladies' event at that very tournament.
Oh, Brooklyn here. The luck is going with Palermo. Is it the luck he needs to get through this match?
Well, our statsman is going to tell me that that was all wrong, and we could see visually it was. Crossed the head pin. Yeah, much slower this time. This is why it's crossed the head pin into the left-hand side, into the 1-2 pocket. And how lucky is that? Oh, lucky man, don't you know it? No emotion on his face, though. Can you believe that?
Just a wave goodbye to the 10-pin.
He knew it was going to go, didn't he?
Barnes then, with the first bit of pressure that he's had in this tournament. Look at him lock that wrist out before the delivery. Back into the pocket and back into the strikes. Barnes turns his double.
Pure fingers in that ball, lots of rotation, lots of lift off the hand. Absolutely rips the rack. Oh, don't you look at me like that. Dear, oh dear. Shades of the Tim Mack telling the pins off.
These guys do take it personally. These poor pins already take a pounding without being shouted at as well. So, Palermo still on for 525. If he can pull off a 300, he could get 2 magic results from just one game of 10-pin bowling. A maximum and Chris Barnes' scalp.
It really doesn't bear thinking about, does it?
Knew I could talk him out of it. So the 9-pin left for Palermo, and the frustration in his face. Immediately his aggregate maximum plummets to 504. That's assuming he makes this spare.
This is just sheer unbridled power going into the pocket. Again, emotionless. To all intents and purposes, look to strike. Solid 9-pin. That's only a spare. So his 300 game goes.
No one-handed spares yet from Palermo. You can see what it means to him. 4-bagger, followed by that spare, takes him down to 504. Barnes, of course, still on that 515 potential finish. This one is going to be very, very tight indeed.
Yeah, the heat's certainly on Oscar, as it is on Chris as well. Working on 2 strikes now. He really needs to turn the screw and bury this one right in the pocket. He's not going to be rushed, is he? Going through his setup. Locking that elbow tight into his waist. Breaking that wrist, digging those fingers deep into the ball before he sets off. Look for 10, and takes 10. He knew it was good. He had a little shout at the ball once it was off the hand, and it went straight into the 1-3 pocket for 3 strikes in a row.
So Turkey for Barnes.
Certainly can't do any better than that. 3 great looking strikes.
It's just great to watch.
Yeah, a little bit of eye contact there with someone in the crowd.
Yeah, just saying don't get ahead of himself there. Patient is Chris Barnes, isn't he?
Well, he can't rush it. It's 1 frame at a time. It's only the 2 games, which really is just a sprint for these players. That's so important. Pretty important too that Oscar gets back on strikes. That's just what he's done. Hit him thin, made him spin.
From the fin.
Absolutely love it. Well done, Simon.
Palermo then. Just letting Barnes know he's still there.
Yeah, very serious look on his face. There's the ball that does the damage, and the 5 pin's the last one to go. But it all counts as 10.
Barnes then working this Turkey.
The difference is just 11 pins at this particular time. Barnes to strike again to keep the pressure on. Trying to extend that lead.
And he does exactly that. Bit of showboating for the crowd. Little tap of the hands between the 2 guys there. I think Oscar Palermo really appreciating the quality of that shot.
It's doing it, it's getting it right at exactly the right time. And Chris is showing just how professional he is. One of the top players on the PBA Tour in the United States, World 10-pin Masters champion, showing some of the style that won him this title last year. Looking quite relaxed, but I'm sure inside he's a little more wound up than he's showing.
Yeah, neither of these players give away a tremendous amount in the green room. So tough to tell what they're really thinking on the inside. That's great. What a strike from Palermo. I asked Chris Barnes last year what he says to himself when he's chattering away in the chair, and he just looked at me and said, "You don't want to know."
Yeah, great shot from Oscar. Makes the double again. I actually thought that was a fraction high on the headpin, but it certainly carried all 10 without any doubt.
No open frames for Palermo. So clean so far through this game, and just 1 strike down on the great man.
Well, he's a great man. He's thrown 4 strikes so far in a row. 5 out of 6 in this game. Showing some of the form that makes him one of the best players in the world. Hello, we've got a full start. Started on the wrong foot by the sound of it. Left, right, left, right.
That's the sign, though, of your high-class performer, their ability to read the signals that they get back from their body. They read that feedback and make a decision very quickly. And you'll often see this from a world-class performer. It's automatic to them, so they know when something doesn't feel right, they're able to stop their action as soon as it happens. Watch him pull out of this now. I know it's not much, but as a coach, that tells you that that is world-class bowling, because most of us mere mortals would have still plugged away, tried to get on with the shot, and then thought, oh dear, what went wrong there? Nearly worth the wait, but not quite.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. Rings the 10 pin in the corner. His speed was a little bit higher there, I'm told by our statsman Andy Penny. Working hard on the CAT's sensors on the side of the lane. Downloading all the software instantly. Gives us those results. Needs to make the spare. Out comes the hard ball. Should be no problem at all.
Got it, and just a touch of anger in that delivery.
Well, upset more than anger, because it's given Oscar the opportunity to come back with a strike and make 3 in a row.
Yeah, that potential 10-pin advantage is reinstalled for the Finn. 504 potential finishing score against the score of Barnes 494, but I wouldn't read too much into that at the moment. There's a long way to go, even though there's only 3 frames left for each player. This one is far from over.
Anybody up for the draw?
Well, we've been waiting for one, haven't we? Bernie White'll he'll be wanting his tea, but he might just have to stay on.
He'll be coming into action if we do have a tie, won't he? Come on, Oscar, get up. Oh, the 2-8-10 split. This is likely to be a big open frame, and this was a big mistake from what I can see from Oscar. Allowed that ball to get off the hands. It sailed away to the right-hand side. Came roaring back, but it just touched the head pin, and that's the reason that the 2-8 and the 10 pin is standing. Oh, shows some emotion at last. That could be the open frame that may well lose this match. Let's just wait and see. Just the one. Eerie silence comes over the audience. Almost sympathetic round of applause, and that was the 8th frame down.
Well, from 504 to 467 as a potential maximum aggregate score for Palermo. That's some serious damage been done there. Barnes 494 is his potential finish if he strikes out from here, so it's not really just a case of keeping the ball on the lane. Barnes has got to keep the pressure on, and he's got to keep it on with a strike preferably.
Well, this is just like what Mike Schmidt did last year against Chris Barnes. Neck and neck all the way, and all of a sudden a great big open frame in the last couple of frames of the second game. Barnes to bury one, and does. And doesn't he know that was a really important ball? Not only is he given the chance to finish with 4 strikes in a row, he just turns the screw and puts the pressure right back on Oscar.
That's what experience in sport is all about, and Chris Barnes has got it in abundance. But for Palermo, these are new experiences. This 23-year-old Finnish bowler. And there's your strike rate. Nice. So 73% so far on his strike rate. That's pretty good. And then the spares conversions up in the 90s. Oh, again, just flattens them, and how he wishes that could have been the last frame.
7 strikes in the game so far, but it's the big open frame that's caused all the damage. 620 revs per minute on that ball. Absolutely rips the rack.
Well, he's going to set fire to the lane oil if he keeps it up at this rate.
Well, the lane oil is there to protect the lane from the friction that these ultra soft reactive bowling balls cause on the flat surfaces.
So
242 maximum in this second game. 467 is all he can make.
Yeah, it's just a bit of frustration now for Palermo. He's not quite in the position that he wanted to be in to attack Barnes over the closing stages, and Barnes, his foundation frame delivery.
This could be the match winner.
Probably is.
Probably is. It probably is, yes. And I think he well knows that. Just needs to keep the ball on the lane now. Very professional finish to this match. Seventh strike, and look at the aggression there in that body language. That's his foundation frame, and that's the situation. Look, 27 pins, 1 frame to go.
Barnes performing magnificently. If you go out on the lane and make as few errors as you possibly can each time, you create such an incredible wave of pressure for your opponent. And that's what Palermo has found this year. That's what Michael Schmidt found last year. If they just keep coming at you, eventually you're going to run out of options, Cass.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, I sort of restate that big open frame that Oscar had in frame 8. The 2-8-10 split cost him so many pins, and that's probably going to be the frame that makes Chris Barnes the winner.
And what it's cost him is the chance to make Barnes at least work for his place in the semi-finals.
Chris just got to keep the ball in play, keep it on the lane, do nothing silly, and he knows it. Grandstand finish for Oscar Palermo, the young man from Finland. He's going to finish 240 plus if he strikes out. 242. A 470 set, and he'll be the loser. That's quite amazing. 235 average and not win.
Yeah, it really is a case of well played, you're out.
Well, I'm sure he's earned himself a position in invitational tournaments in the future. Fantastic style, great to watch, and a very high scoring bowler. Great out, 242.
Yeah, that's a fantastic finish from Oscar Palermo, and the crowd knows it. Reward for the young man who's come here to Barnsley and given a tremendous account of himself, but in the end it's just not going to be good enough against Chris Barnes.
10 strikes in that game for 242, and he's going to lose. It's very unfortunate. This is the defending champion, Chris Barnes, the man from the Professional Bowlers Tour in the United States. He knows the situation. He's just got to keep that ball in play, do nothing silly, and he's going to be your winner. Good enough. That's the match. The fist of victory is raised, and the audience realise that as well. Tough game, but when the tough gets going, it looks fantastic, doesn't it? Great shot right in the 1-3 pocket. Another 3 strikes in a row for Barnes.
Well, he's who the crowd have come to see, and quite rightly. And the defending champion is not going to let go of this crown without a fight.
2 bonus balls, 10th frame. He's into the semi-finals. I'm not going to say he's showboating, but he's striking at will now, and this looks absolutely fantastic. One more strike for...
Just suggesting to the crowd, should he go two-handed? And as the crowd say, yes please, he says, no thank you, I'll leave that to Oscar. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is put your back out, trying something flash in your last ball. There's still work to be done at this tournament. And that's the best he can manage with the last ball, but the job was done a few minutes ago. Congratulations then from Oscar Palermo for a superb performance, and Chris Barnes turning in some very good numbers at this tournament. The defending champion marches on into the semi-final, and who can beat him?
Yes, the defending champion wins again, the American into the semi-finals for the 2nd year in a row. He awaits the winner of our next clash, Jason Belmonte of Australia, against the teenage sensation from Saudi Arabia, Bader Al Sheikh.
Well, the first match of our quarterfinals is over, and Chris Barnes has taken that next step towards the winning trophy, proving that his professional aims and delivery are still too much for his opponents. Next time, Jason Belmonte and Al Sheikh battle it out for a place in the semi-finals. Now, they've had what it takes to get through the first round in the first match, but will they make it through to the quarterfinals? Join us for more gameplay next time on partypoker.net World 10 Pin Masters.